Today we're going to go over this new Graves Motorsports rear shock link and pushrod kit that you can buy. So what it does on the ZX-4RR, this is my track bike here you see pictured. It takes these steel links and the rod here and replaces it with their own goodies. This is what you get. This is the kit A. There's a part number in the box that comes in, and we'll pop it open real quick just to give you a quick look at what pieces this replaces. And this is what you get right there. So they're labeled left with the little etch mark right there, and right. And then you got this push rod, which is adjustable height, you know, either longer or shorter than stock. It's got a titanium little link bolt in the middle, a couple pinch bolts, beautiful CNC machined aluminum with some fancy looking bushings, bearings in there. And yeah, so what it's going to do is this piece will replace this steel, and then these aluminum plates are going to replace this steel. Everything's lighter, and in addition, the plates have an integral threads in them, so you aren't going to need these nuts here. Mine are titanium, 3 of them there, so I might have to buy some new bolts or shorten those, but either way, nice little touch on these links to make it even quicker to replace the shock. So what we're going to do is take the fairings off. I'll support the engine, and I'll remove the rear shock and all these links. So let's get started with that and get this show on the road. I just got my lower fairing off, and this one's a belly pan because the Graves Motorsports race fairings, but look at how much gravel and rubber is in this thing. It's after only 2 track days, you know, less than a couple hundred miles, but I'm so curious. I want to weigh this and see how many, probably at least a half pound, I don't know. Let's see how much gravel I've been carrying around with me. Not as bad as I thought, only 3.5 ounces, but still, that's almost a quarter of a pound of detritus just hanging out inside the lower fairing of my bike. Looks like I got to remove that a little more often and dump out all of the things my bike picks up. Anyway, let's get back to the bike here. I've got the lower off now. Obviously, if you have stock fairings, it's going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to get a little jack now and just support the engine so that I can start taking off all this linkage. All right, here is the jack underneath the oil pan. The other trick way I've seen this is jack stands that go underneath the pegs to just pick up the bike. But this is what I do. So now that I've got the rear wheel supported off the weight of the bike, and now we're going to just take off this bolt and the one through this frame so that we can remove the shock, and then we'll start taking off all these linkages. Rear shock is out. It's so easy. I mean, just 2 bolts, bam, the whole rear shock is out. I mean, I've never seen a bike so easy to access and just well designed. It's great. Anyways, yeah, so we'll just keep going now. We're going to take out these links and the dog bone, all that stuff. Forgot to mention, I did remove the rear fender. Mine's chopped a little so that it doesn't have a chain guard for the track, but it's only 3 bolts, gives you a little more room to work in here. And yeah, I got to clean it up a little bit, you know, after my last couple track days. So we're almost there. 2 more to go before we are done with this removal part. Everything removed, all the linkages. We're going to clean all this up because that's what we do. But here they are compared side by side. Here's the stock Kawasaki stuff. Here's the Graves Motorsports. I think the difference speaks for itself. Again, notice one of these link plates is threaded, so all the bolts are not going to need the nuts, at least just on the link plate. But the next step is to make sure that this rod, which has this regular thread and reverse thread, which can be lengthened or shortened, is the proper length. So I'm going to do that by popping these bushings out a little bit and using them to align the rod here perfectly to the exact stock size, so I have no deviation. So let me get that set up, and then we'll come back and start putting this thing together. Okay, I got the stock dog bone along with the Graves link connected with the bushings holding them, and you can turn this titanium pin in the middle until, you know, it just fits. So I'm going to put it in the middle of the travel here. I'll tighten down these 2 pinch bolts, and then now we've got a aftermarket Graves rod, which is exactly the same length as the stock one. So the dog bone stock one, we took out the seals, just pried them out. They came out real easy, and the little spacers, the steel spacers. So what we did is we cleaned everything up, and these spacers go in dry. These needle bearings in here are self-lubricated. You don't put any grease, none of that stuff, and they just slide in really nice. And then each seal, you're supposed to put some grease in the lips, which I did. Used my favorite grease here, which I had some of this Redline CV2 sitting around from some joints I did on my Volkswagen. It's good grease, really high, good for high pressure, you know, but it doesn't really matter. This is just to keep that little pivot lubricated. But we're going to go ahead and stick all these seals on, clean this thing up, and then we're going to follow the book. It has a tightening sequence here, you know, what order you're supposed to torque these to, and to what torque figure. So let me get these seals installed on the rod, and then we'll go from there. We've got the dog bone in place. I got my titanium hardware and you know, the 2 side links in place. I wanted to take a moment. I am using titanium hardware, and it's really important to use the right anti-seize to prevent galling. So this is the kind I use. You can use whatever you like, but just make sure you use something so that the titanium and aluminum together don't end up galling or making it tough down the road. But I want to point something out. With the stock size bolts, the Graves team engineered these side plates so that it's all flush. You don't have to buy shorter bolts. They know what they're doing. First class. Anyway, I'm going to keep going, get the bolts all in place, get the shock in place, and then we'll go ahead and torque this thing down in the sequence needed, and call it a day. All buttoned up. There's the old parts, the old steel link plates, and then the dog bone, and we got all the new Graves stuff in there. Looks really nice. You know, I want to shout out for sure to the Graves team for not just selling you good hardware, but it comes with 1 year of support from their race division, which for me made a huge difference, because setting this shock up, setting the forks up, I didn't have to think. They listened. They looked at how I ride. They asked about how much I weighed. They looked at the bike, at the track, and they came up with settings which dramatically improved my speed on the track, and my effort went way down. So what more could you want but that? And this link kit is just another step in the right direction of the highest performance kind of components you can put on your ZX4 for tunability. Notice that this tie rod, you know, it doesn't just change the ride height, it's changing the ratio of this whole geometry. Now, I've got mine set at stock length, and I won't be touching it. Chris over at Graves Motorsports tunes my suspension since I bought their package. And, you know, if he wants to make changes, I'll be on board. But, you know, I won't be going into the weeds myself to do it on my own. So anyway, this is the ZX-4RR rear shock link kit. I wanted to just give everyone an idea of what it looked like on the bike, how hard it was to install, which is not very hard at all if you got some basic tools. So, you know, give it a shot for your ZX4 if you think it's something that might fit your needs. And please like and give me your comments on what you think of this part in the videos down below. I'm going to have a link to the part at Graves in the description. I'm not paid by Graves, you know, not affiliated with them in any way. I just like their stuff and spreading the goodwill while we have this wonderful platform that they keep developing. The ZX4 has just been really fun and awesome. So hope everyone else is having fun with theirs and enjoying the summer. Take care.